So you're wondering just what it costs to live here in Atlanta? Well, that's what we're talking about today, starting right now. My name is Teresa Fudge, and I'm a local realtor here in the Atlanta metro area. In this video today, we're going to talk about the cost of living here in Atlanta based on housing, transportation, health insurance, groceries, and so much more. If you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button and that notification bell. You don't want to miss a thing. I make new videos all the time about everything you need to know about living here in the Atlanta area. And if there's ever anything that I can help you with, just give me a call, shoot me a text, or send me an email. I hear from so many of you each week, and I just really love it. So let's get started. So the cost of living index that we're going to use is based on 100 for the national average. So anything that's above that means it's more expensive, and anything below that means it's cheaper than the national average. For the Atlanta metro area, our overall cost of living index is 107. That's really good. Housing has the biggest impact on that with a factor of 112. There are some areas of the country like Portland, Oregon, or Los Angeles, and even New York City, where the cost of living index is 2 or 3 times higher than that. So the median cost of buying a home in Atlanta is $259,000 compared to the national average at $232,000. Georgia as a state overall is well below that at $186,000. So if you're going to buy a house, that would mean your monthly mortgage payment is about $1,500 a month. Now let's talk about renting versus buying a home. The Atlanta area is known actually to have a really higher cost of rent. The average 2-bedroom apartment is going to cost you well over $1,200 a month, whereas a 3-bedroom apartment is going to be more like $1,600 a month. Now, of course, there's areas where that can be a little bit higher or a little bit lower. The increase in rental rates over the last few years have actually outpaced parts of the rest of the country. The most expensive zip codes for rent here in the area is really concentrated in the Buckhead area, and those rates are going to go from about $1,650 a month to over $2,200 a month. Now that we've talked about the cost of renting or buying a home, let's talk about the utilities. That would include the electric, water, and sewage. So you can expect to pay about $165 a month for that. And if you're going to add high-speed internet, that's going to range you anywhere from about $50 to $80 a month. Of course, that's going to depend on your speed and bandwidth as well. Compared to the national average, that's about a 103 on that scale. Now, how are you going to get to work? Well, a recent study shows that about 1 of 10 in Atlanta are actually working from home. And that number ties Atlanta with Portland, Oregon for the 3rd highest percentage in the country. If you're still commuting into work, one of the best ways to get around the Atlanta area is the public transit system, MARTA. Now, there's both rail lines and bus lines that will run around the city and out to the neighboring suburbs. A 30-day MARTA pass will cost you about $95 a month, but you can also get discounted rates if you're a senior citizen or on some type of assistance program like Medicare. If you have to own a car, it's going to cost you. A recent study found that Georgia is one of the most expensive states to own a car in. When you add up gas, insurance, taxes, and fees, it's going to cost you about $4,200 a year to own that car. And that's about $1,000 more than the national average. The cost of auto insurance is pretty much in line with the national average, but our taxes and fees are about double. If you add in the other costs of owning the vehicle, like the car itself, parking fees, gas wasted while sitting in traffic, the true annual cost of owning that vehicle is well over $11,000 a year. Now, compared to the national average at $10,200 a year, you can see why we're more expensive. Now let's talk about one of my favorite subjects, food. Atlanta is known for award-winning restaurants. If you're going out to a medium-priced restaurant, the average cost of a 3-course meal for 2 is about $50. A solo meal in an inexpensive restaurant is going to cost you about $15. Not to mention, Atlanta has some award-winning, high-end restaurants for those special events when you need to splurge. On average, though, Atlanta residents are going to spend about $312 a month eating. So here in Georgia, we do have a state income tax. It's a relatively simple, progressive income tax system with rates from 1% going up to 5.75%. High earners pay higher rates. However, the top brackets do peak out at $7,000 for single filers. We do have a relatively low sales tax compared to the rest of the country. In the city of Atlanta, that is about 8.9%. The last thing I want to talk about is health care. So if your employer does not provide a benefit plan, or maybe you're a realtor or self-employed entrepreneur, the average rate for a 40-year-old non-smoker is going to be about $490 a month for health insurance. In 2018, those rates were about 13% higher. So we've just about covered it for the cost of living in Atlanta, Georgia. So I pulled a list of the 20 most expensive cities to live in the country and the 20 least expensive cities to live in the country. Atlanta's not found on either one of those lists. Our total cost of living index is 107, so that's just slightly over the national average. And as I've said, the highest impact on that is our cost for housing. And if you're living out in the suburbs, those numbers could be just a little bit different. Let's take a look at it on a map. So if you're looking at this map, you'll see that the northern suburbs of Atlanta are higher as far as the cost of living. Cities like Sandy Springs, Milton, they have the highest cost of living. Now if we look at just based on housing, you'll see that that map is identical. Atlanta is a great blend of big city and big country. We're attracting transplants from all over the place. Folks are attracted to our award-winning restaurants, wonderful culture centers, and our flourishing job market. And it could be a little bit of our southern hospitality. Atlanta is home to more than a dozen Fortune 500 companies. Companies like Delta, the Home Depot, Coca-Cola. We have so much to offer when it comes to our job market. If I can answer any questions about living in the Atlanta area or what it's like to move here, you can always reach out to me. You can find me on social media. You can call me. You can text me. You can email me. You can leave a comment right down there about this video. So maybe you already know where you're going to be working or what you want in a perfect neighborhood. I can help you find all that. There are so many options in the Atlanta area. There are actually over 240 recognized neighborhoods in the city of Atlanta. All that can get pretty overwhelming. If I can help you cut through that clutter and confusion, please let me know. I hear from so many of you each week, and I just really love it. And if you've already been here, maybe you've been here for a while and you have some favorite neighborhoods, favorite restaurants, things to do, leave them there in the comments. I love the feedback that I can pass on to new people. And there's always a link in the description where you can download my free home search app. I sure hope you found this video helpful. If so, give it that big thumbs up. If there are things you think I can do better or subjects you'd like me to do a video on, leave them there in the comments. Thank you so much for watching my videos and sharing them with your friends and family. I look forward to seeing you on the next one.